Yeah, it's midweek already. How did this happen so fast? Let's see what the news is bringing us today. More importantly, what kind of attitude can we have to deal with this all? Well, I bet you. Be willing to bet you. Unless you're some sort of a clairvoyant, you didn't have radioactive shrimp on your bucket list today. Not really on your bucket list, but your bingo card, let's put it that way, because we've got a radioactive shrimp issue to talk about. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give the FDA some credit on this because I think they nipped it in the bud, as they say. But we'll get some details on that. If it affects you, if it doesn't, I don't know. We'll find out. This one you probably saw coming. I think a lot of us actually did. Boston has the worst mayor in the country. I know there's some stiff competition. I mean, Mayor Bass is awful in L.A. The Chicago mayor is awful. But Mayor Wu, affectionately known as Mayor Wuhan in the city of Boston, she's something else. And now this is a national issue, which is, I think, her goal on this. Fighting tooth and nail, the Trump administration, to make her city safer. Yes, that's right, fighting it to make her city safer. She didn't want to make it safer. She's fighting the effort to... Anyway, we'll talk about that as well. And are you ready? It's time to get fit with Pete and Bobby. Did you see this? Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Pete Hegseth, they teamed up and they did the fit challenge. It's what is it? 50 pull-ups, 100 sit-ups. That's a pretty good fit test. Under 5 minutes. And they want the whole nation to get fit. Something everybody's behind, right? Nobody's pushing back against that. What? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. The lunatics are out in full force already in record time against this one. Wait till you hear what they're saying about this. Woo-hoo. Amazing. All right, let's get right to it. Thanks for finding the live stream, Wicked Radio, with me. I'm Bill, and look for the other social media channels. This is all part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams on all of those, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, and the replay, as always, right here on X. And you audio podcast listeners, pressing subscribe, appreciate you so much, as always. Let's get right to it. Radioactive shrimp. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, or maybe The Simpsons. Maybe it has two heads. I don't know. But it's happening. Let's go to the story because I don't want to mislead you because you may be a big shrimp eater from Walmart. The FDA is warning you probably shouldn't eat, sell, or serve Walmart's great value raw frozen shrimp due to radioactive contamination. Yes, FDA warned Americans not to eat, sell, or serve with this. They found some frozen shrimp with possible contamination due to something called cesium-137. What's that? It happens to be a radioactive isotope. Come on, what's a radioactive isotope among friends? The radioactive material detected in shipping containers from Indonesia, 4 U.S. ports, and they tested on the frozen shrimp from the distributor, also tested positive. Now, here's the thing. No frozen shrimp within the U.S. food supply has tested positive, okay? So they caught it in time. I know the FDA has taken a lot of criticism here recently, actually for a long time now, and a lot of it completely warranted, but let's give them some credit on this. The system seems to have worked, right? It didn't make it to store shelves. They caught it in time, but still they want you to look out for this. So let's get some details. This was from Good Morning America just this morning. I just saw this in real time, unless you're watching on the replay, about a half hour ago. Let's go to the story about radioactive shrimp. What does it all mean? Here's their, I guess, medical director.
Radioactive material in food doesn't sound good, so we want to say right off the top that so far the FDA says it appears none of the potentially dangerous shrimp actually made it to Walmart stores. However, it was found in a shipment of uncooked frozen shrimp, so the agency is taking the step to recall more of the shrimp brand and warn the public. Now, the radioactive substance that we're talking about is called cesium-137, which is mostly found in places that have had nuclear testing or nuclear accidents. It has a half-life of about 30 years, which means we got a long time to think about it. And the
Again, I'll give the FDA credit. They saw, or the system, the food processing system. They caught it in time. Tough deal for Walmart. Sorry, but, hey, listen, find a better distributor. 4 U.S. ports they found this in. This always makes me think. It's like they caught this time. I have nothing to back this up. But I've always kind of thought this, and this just reinforces my belief. I'm convinced that just by eating what we eat, trying to get healthier these days, obviously, but especially as a kid, I'm convinced. Remember all those TV dinners in the 70s and 80s? A little bit in the 90s before they went out of fashion. I'm convinced I've eaten radioactive material. Absolutely convinced. Before they actually checked on this stuff a little bit better, before the world got hold of information like this. But There's your warning about the radioactive shrimp, so just be careful. It's a good reminder, though. So what do you do with this? What's the takeaway? Just try as best you possibly can to try to look at your food sources a little bit better. Can all of us detect what like if this had made it to the store shelves at Walmart, would we be able to tell if it's radioactive shrimp? No. You know, I don't have an isotope test to go through all the different food to see what we're actually eating. But when enough of these stories get out there to the general public, and there have been more about potential food safety concerns getting out there, more of the public becomes aware of this kind of stuff, and I think it's good. So, if anything, good for the FDA. It's a good reminder for us to try to, as you can't catch everything, but try your best to actually eat real food, real sourced food, hopefully sourced within this country. Who knows? But you can't catch everything, right? Stay away from the shrimp. Sorry, Walmart. Find some better food sources. All right, let's get to... You probably didn't see that one coming, like I said on your bingo card. Radioactive shrimp, I don't think anybody saw coming this week. But you probably saw this coming. I know a lot of us did. America's worst mayor is a Marxist. It's not just opinion. That's like she is. She's just admitted Marx. She just is. And she's Mayor Michelle Wu in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, Boston. Now, I can speak to this, and this was on my radar a little bit faster than most because my family is from the greater Boston area, as you can tell with all the Red Sox stuff and half the shirts I wear and all that stuff. I get it. But I'm here to tell you, just because I'm so attuned to Boston political history, there was a great radio guy I grew up listening to out of Boston. He was actually a sports talk host, Eddie Edelman. Maybe you know him. Maybe you know the name. He described Boston so well once. He described it as this. This is the temperament of that area of the country, because they're very overall very intelligent, pretty reactionary, right, to different things going on in the news, mostly, or at least were, and they're usually hip to what's going on. Eddie Edelman described the people of Boston as three things. These are their three main concerns in their mindset: sports, politics, and revenge. And it's actually true. And that goes back to revolutionary days. It's just not the sports part, but still, it just actually is. So the politics part, so many people in Boston are attuned to what's going on politically because it is the most corrupt town and the most corrupt city administration in the country, maybe sometimes only secondary to Chicago. Okay? So that's really saying something. Interestingly enough, maybe there's a connection there. Mayor Wu is from Chicago, but of course, like so many of them, went to school in Boston at an Ivy League school and stayed there and got involved with local politics. And of course, you know who got a hold of her and, became what they become. So interestingly enough, that's where she's from. Mayor Wu was absolutely tyrannical during lockdown. I can speak to this personally because of my family being there. Absolutely tyrannical with lockdowns and the restrictions, and that plays a part, and it's part of the story, which is what we're leading to now. They've hinted around for months now from her administration, just in the city of Boston, that they're going to push back against the Trump administration's efforts to let ICE go into the communities and take, and this is another important part of the story, the worst of the worst illegal criminals and criminal gangs off the streets to protect the residents in that city. And there's been nothing but pushback from her administration, leading up to the press conference that happened yesterday, okay? I'm going to play it for you right now, and these are some of her main talking points in pushing back against the city of Boston.
Stop attacking our cities to hide your administration's failures. Unlike the Trump administration, Boston follows the law. This has always been a city of revolution, of innovation, of standing up for the public good, and never bowing down to tyranny.
Okay, remember I said that's relevant to the story, never bowing down to tyranny? That's why I said during COVID, one of the most recent examples, she was an absolute lockdown tyrant. And it's hard there's still a lot of people, because not, really, unless you're a business traveler, not many of us travel back and forth so much that you can compare the cities, right? I happened to a lot during COVID, going to Boston and then back to Florida. And it was literally like watching two different movie screens, just 5 years ago. That's how recent this was. Florida And if you know, Florida as a free state, and I think Arizona was kind of like this, and Texas, the free states during COVID, which realized right away we can't shut down our businesses, right? We had a couple of months of that, and that was about it. I would go during that very same time back to Massachusetts, Boston specifically. It was like a post-apocalyptic world where it was. I landed one time at Logan Airport, and it was the JetBlue terminal side of things at Logan in Boston, a major airport, major hub for a lot of airlines. I was the only one in the terminal, including employees. The only one. I thought it was like, did you ever see that movie, The Langoliers, where the plane landed and there was nobody left on Earth except the people from the plane? That's what it felt like. Furthermore, as they were trying to climb out of COVID, Mayor Wu started to trickle up some opening up areas of the city, except for the north end of Boston, which is mostly Italian-American. Didn't vote for her. Guess which one she locked down worse? North end of Boston. That's what she did. So I say that because she dared to bring up the revolutionary history of the city of Boston, the Sons of Anarchy, in this pushback against the federal government, which, by the way, let's not forget the main goal, to protect the city of Boston residents. And you ask any one of them who have dealt with the recent uptick in crime and homelessness and drug abuse in the city under her watch. But she dared to use revolutionary imaging to try to describe her efforts when it's the exact opposite. Because I'm here to tell you, from what I know from history, and this is my favorite part of history, is American Revolution history, being from New England, the Sons of Liberty would have hated her. She stands for everything they pushed back against. She's a tyrant. She's awful. She's not very intelligent, and that's what the pushback is. Now, here's what's going to happen. The Trump now she's made it a national issue, which I'm sure was the entire goal, right? Because she put herself now on the national stage. Now, a lot of people knew who Mayor Wu of Boston was before this, but this was a national news story. Trump administration officials like Stephen Miller already reacting to it. Tom Homan from ICE, he's not going to put up with this. This means they will have the feds going in. They will, despite her. And there have been a lot of calls from people to arrest Mayor Wu, put her in handcuffs. No, that would be the worst. That's exactly what she wants. You don't want that, right? You don't want it. But this just now raised this to a national issue, and I think the battleground for cleaning up these cities, you thought it was Washington, D.C., but remember I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, this is going to spread to other cities to clean it up and get the crime off the streets. Battleground Boston is where it's going to be. Ironically, where the country actually started. Battleground Boston is where we regained our freedoms as colonists, right? Yes. Well, it's happening again. Now, she doesn't completely realize this. Because what would the smart move be? She's got a rare combination of being, incredibly corrupt. Amazingly, stunningly corrupt. Maybe the most corrupt Boston mayor of all time in history. And that's saying something, because they have had some beauties up there. Trust me on this one. A stunning combination of corruption and flat out, base level stupidity. She's just very, very stupid. Well, she's got that degree and she is an Ivy Leaguer. I don't care. No, I'm not talking about book smart. I'm talking about street smarts, because she doesn't get it. What would the smart move be? What would a smart person do? This is kind of underhanded, but I'm talking about politics now, right? But what would the smart move be in this situation? You've got ICE and the feds cracking down on crime, going out and busting out illegal gang activity like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and all these other cities, and you see Washington, D.C. happening, so you know what's coming to your town. What would the smart move be if you're the mayor of the city of Boston, Massachusetts? The smart move would have been this. You let them come in, let them do their work, clean up the city, get rid of the crime, get rid of the criminal gangs, do what they have to do, right? You let it happen. You wait till the good results happen, crime numbers go down, city looks cleaner, and then you take credit for it, right? You tell your base, you tell your far left extreme lunatic base in Boston, I did what I could do. I tried. I really tried. But it's the feds. I tried everything to push back. I really did. I tried. That's what you do to hold them off. But then you take credit a little bit later on when things calm down for the results. And you run on it again and you say, city's cleaner, city's safer under my watch, when really it was the feds that did the work. Now, that would have been the smart move, because that's what smart people do. It's kind of seedy and underhanded, I get that, but we're talking about politics here. But that would have been the smart move. She is not a smart person. She's very stupid and very corrupt. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a pushback. And like I said, watch for it over the next coming months. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of cities finally understand. Even New York understands this, right? Let them get rid of the criminal gang activity. Let them do it. Not Boston. It's going to be battleground Boston. Watch for this for the next couple of months ahead. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And they're going to lose. The lefty lunatics are absolutely, completely, 100% going to lose. Why do I know that? Well, let's go to the preamble, the little setup. Who was the opening band from Mayor Wuhan in Boston? What did she actually have? This is amazing. So symbolically, to push back against ICE and the immigration cleanup and the criminal gang activity cleanup, what do you have? There's no other choice. You got to have a mariachi band.
Everybody, hoo-hoo-ya, hoo-hoo-ya, Evladi.
God, I can't. Wow. Okay. So there you are. That's what's going on in Boston. Ahoo-ya. We should all make a meme of that. All right, you ready to get fit? Let's move on and get fit and get in shape with Pete and Bobby. Did you see this? Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, and Bobby Kennedy Jr. from Health and Human Services. They have a fit test challenge. They put together a little video of them doing it here, and it's pretty amazing, actually. Let's see how this goes. And what do you have to do to get in shape for the fit test challenge? So Bobby Kennedy kind of explains it right here.
And we had our big Pete and Bobby challenge today. 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. You try to get under 5 minutes. How'd you do?
We got close. I was about 5:25. You were right behind me.
We had a couple of Marines here.
One beat 3 minutes, a couple beat 4 minutes. Pretty impressive.
It was President Trump who inspired us to do this. This is the beginning of our tour.
Oh, there it is. He said it right at the end. Bobby Kennedy said it right there. It was President Trump that inspired us to do this. And that's where the pushback comes in. Now you're thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, you got a fit test challenge. What is that again? It's 50 pull-ups, 100 sit-ups. You got to do it under 5 minutes or try. It's a pretty good fit test, by the way. Done a lot of fit tests and training for martial arts stuff, and that's a good one. That would be tough to handle. So that's great. Get America healthy, right? Make it a national challenge. You could get schools involved with this. You could challenge your family members. You could challenge your spouse, your friends, your what. Everybody's behind this, right? No. Maybe you didn't see it coming, but if you pay attention to this stuff long enough, you know what's coming. What did Bobby say there at the very end of the clip I played for you? We were inspired by President Trump to get... Well, there it is. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. You have to laugh at this stuff. This is how you have to handle it. The Pete and Bobby Fit Test Challenge is now being called... Fill in the blank. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. What are the lunatics calling it? Come on. I know you're thinking. I hear you thinking. That's right. It's the same thing Hitler did. So now, because the administration wants to get people healthy, this is now being called fascist. You can make it up, but it wouldn't be even nearly as crazy as what's happening in reality. So I knew it was, it'll be all over the place. It'll be all over. You'll hear the terms Hitler Youth thrown into this. You'll hear body shaming. Oh, that's the other thing too. To try to demand, and if they try to push this on school kids and go back to body shaming, I'm gonna leave the country. Oh, well, there you go. So that's what it is. You don't need me to tell you this kind of stuff. You just have to laugh at those people. You have to laugh at these lunatics. America wants to get healthy again. JFK. Democrat, ironically, nothing like the Democrats of today, but JFK did the same thing in the 60s, 1961. You remember his fit challenge? That's when they had the presidential fit test thing, which is coming back now to schools. Remember that? I think you got to run the mile, and I remember doing the ropes or whatever, and I was kind of fading away by the time I was in grade school or whatever it was. But yeah, remember? JFK, they said the same thing. We can't have a bunch of fat kids in class. Well, now you got something similar, like this with this fit test challenge. Okay. If you're somebody who has a great mindset, wants to get healthier, and wants to get better, you welcome this with open arms. If you're a lunatic that sees evil in everything they do because they hate the orange man that is the president, there you go. It's all about which way you choose. God, I can't believe it. All right, I'm out of here. I'm out of material, and you have to get on with your midweek. Make it awesome. Thanks for finding me, as always, in the live stream. The replay airs later on, which is where most of you find it. Replay later on X mostly, and also on Facebook and YouTube. Watch out for this for more content coming to those other channels called Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Wicked Radio is part of that entire thing as the live stream where we just like to talk about current events and mindset and all that stuff. And audio podcast listeners, press subscribe as well when this wraps up in just seconds. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. As always, make it a wicked awesome Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow.